franchise, it's like a giant mastermind group, but everyone's in the same industry. They're learning from each other. They're pushing in the same direction, and they're rooting for your success, not trying to sabotage it. It's a different environment than that corporate world.
Welcome back to Kim Daily TV. My special guest for us today, his name is Kelsey Stuart, and he is the CEO of a franchise called Bloomin Blinds. Kelsey, welcome to Kim Daily TV.
Thank you, Kim. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here because blinds, that is the number one choice that every single candidate I work with is asking me for.
It's such a hot topic. It's amazing.
And in fact, we're going to begin this conversation in a really funny place because just a couple of days ago, I have a candidate that I'm working with who we went through the whole consultation process. And at the end, he ended up emailing me and he was like, "Hey, Kim, I forgot to tell you, I really want something that's recession resistant. Like my buddy, he just bought a blind business and I'm not really sure that that was a good choice for the economy we're going into. So keep that in mind." And I was like, "Oh, Jeff, I love that email. We have so much to learn together. Stay open." So Kelsey Stuart, tell us a little bit about Bloomin Blinds, how and when your company got started, not the franchise, but the company, and because that's going to help address that very topic of recession resistance in the blind industry.
Right. So we are the epitome of a family business. Bloomin Blinds was started by my mom, and it was meant initially to be a one-woman show. And kind of to your question, the company was formed on the day of 9/11. We were one of the few pieces of paperwork that made it through the office before they shut it down. So that 9/11, and then we had to grow up in that economic wake that came after it. But we're a small family business that realized that we had something unique and a major differentiator, and it was either grow company stores and fracture a family business and send brothers in every direction, or it was franchise it and use our skills to teach other people how to do it across the U.S.
I love it. So for all of my followers out there listening to this, so you ask me about starting a business in uncertain times. Here's a franchise that started on 9/11, 2001. So in that 21 period years, right? You've gone through 9/11 because that did not get cleaned up overnight, and that their
No.
wake of all of that, took years for people to kind of recover from, if we've even recovered. Then we have a recession in 2008, and a very fun time in the building industry and the housing real estate market and in the stock market. And then we had a pandemic in 2020, and here you are to tell the tale. So how or why is your industry resilient to all of this, that you've been growing your franchise brand through all of that?
Yeah, well, so you have the industry component, and then you have the Bloomin Blinds differentiation. So window coverings in general is a fairly resilient place, right? Look at a building and the windows are covered. If you go into a neighborhood and the windows aren't covered, that's going to make the 4th of July picnic a little awkward, right? So it's kind of one of those things that we all need. And so the window covering industry has remained strong. There's ebbs and flows in volume as money goes up and down. The truth is you have a very cheap alternative in pinning a sheet to the wall. Like we are, a luxury choice. We are disposable income driven.
Yes, but let me say this, that really nice blinds have such a dramatic effect on the entire room, right? I have those handsome shutters in my bathroom, and people come out of my bathroom and compliment me in their half shutter because it's faces my backyard, my hot tub, which would be very awkward, Kelsey.
Yeah, exactly.
So people come out and say, "Wow, I love the shutters in there." So imagine if I had a sheet. Not so much.
I agree, but I don't want to overemphasize our place because we're not food, we're not shelter, we're not kids medication. Those things are going to
We're
win,
not essential.
right? So kind of getting back to that recession thing, when money tightens up, there is an ebb and flow to the volume in the window covering industry. So I'll give you a great example. So 2007, we're still a family business, hadn't formed the franchise yet, and we were 90% sales and 10% repair revenue, right? So this is a differentiator that I'm referring to, is we can fix blinds and shades and shutters even if we didn't put them in. Like, we have mobile vans equipped and trained, we show up, we fix it, we leave. And even if we didn't sell it. So the the shift from 2007 to 2008, we were 90% sales, 10% repair revenue. 2008 and 9, we were nearly 50-50. 50% sales, 50% repair revenue, because the buyer's disposable income and their mentality shifted from throw it away, get another one, to let me maintain and keep what I have. As you begin to develop your business, your repeat and referral customer base tends to be about 40% of your revenue every single month. And so after a while, it just kind of falls in your lap. Like, they just keep coming back and they tell their friends, and there's not a lot of reliable resources. And so if you have a referral in the window covering industry, like, you're going to take that referral. Like, who's got a favorite blind company? As you grow and more people love you and know your name, then it just feeds itself. It becomes a self-fulfilling mechanism. You just have to stick through those first couple of years to build that base.
And are your franchisees using social media to help feed this referral basis or create this referral business?
We are getting much better at it. I have one franchise owner in particular who is leading the charge for us, and I got to give him credit. He's in Birmingham, Alabama. Mark Tant, love this boy, but he'll be in business. It'll be his third year. He'll do a little bit over 2 million this year, but he's only spending $1,100 a month in marketing. But he's been able to do it through loyal followers who are truly happy with his communication and his experience, but a massive social media presence. And he has figured out how to tell a story. It's like a art gallery on Instagram. And he uses that to help people daydream about what their house could look like. And he's able to draw leads and business through social media, where generally window coverings is not done well with social media, because most of us stand 4 feet from the window and we take a picture of a brown blind and wonder why you don't like and comment. So we are now taking the skill set that he has built on his own, and he's freely giving it back to the franchise. He's got a heart of a teacher like we do. And so we're doing a multi-series networking group, or a workshop, if you will, and we're teaching franchise owners to do this for themselves. And then I've got an ad out right now for an internal social media manager who's going to then do it for all the franchisees, and they don't have to pay for it. It's coming out of national marketing money.
So one franchisee dares to try something, is so successful, and is kind enough to give it back to his fellow franchisees. Isn't he competing against those people, Kelsey? Why does he want to
Well,
share?
we're all
That's in the mind of a
yeah.
candidate.
Well, we have protected territories, so from a competition standpoint, that's not the case. But he has the right mentality that as the franchise is stronger, then his business is stronger. And it's an all for one. We're all rowing in the same direction. We're all in the family. You know, family's a big thing in this brand. And he's adopted that with all of his heart. And so if he can help one other family do a little bit better, or he can help one franchise owner bring in 20% more revenue, like, that makes his day.
I mean, it drives home the point that when you invest in a franchise, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. This is like collaborative. And I'm just joking when I ask the question, because I think a lot of times people who've been in corporate America, it's a very different feeling in corporate America. I never worked there, but my candidates tell me, and they're kind of shocked or taken aback when they're like, wait, even before I become a franchise owner, those people are going to spend time talking to me, sharing their experience with me. I'm like, yeah, that's a big part of what we do in franchising. And then after you go to training, I mean, like, you're gonna learn the fundamentals of your business from the franchisor. But in my experience, you sort of master the art of your business by sharing and learning from other franchisees. Right?
Yeah.
Rising tides raise all ships. So if we can all, like you said, everybody's rowing in the same direction, and we can row harder, and we can pull more, and our brand has more value, then everybody has more value. And if you're building a business to sell it, a franchise brand that has big value means big dollars upon exit. Think about like Massage Envy or Planet Fitness. These franchisees are cashing out for big
Yeah.
multiples because the brand equity is so high. That's what that means. That's how it begins. One guy
Yeah.
who figures something out and is willing to share it.
It's like a giant mastermind group but everyone's in the same industry. They're learning from each other. They're pushing in the same direction, and they're rooting for your success, not trying to sabotage it. And it's a different environment than that corporate world.
Okay, so you have this differentiator of servicing the blinds, which I know because I work with other different blind franchises. They are purely focused on just selling the product. So let's talk about this point of differentiation and really emphasize, because you just said something very important. In a tougher economic time, you have a solution. Your
Yeah.
franchisees can still make money because they're there on service. And what happens when you show up on a service call? I'm imagining there's a lot of goodwill.
There's a ton of goodwill that leads not only during that appointment, but then you've now picked up a new customer. And so when the money loosens back up, they tend to come back. So, a couple anecdotal stories through that 2008 to 2010 recession. Our profitability in 2007 at 90-10 split was only 10,000 more than being half the volume at a 50-50 split.
Wow, so the margin on service is way higher.
Like in the industry, right? Like the car dealership doesn't make its money when it sells the car, it sells the car to get you in the garage. It's hard on your ego, but it's not hard on your checkbook. And that matters because in
Right.
the end, it's what's left. Um, and so we've seen this twice now. We've been through both these recessions, the 9/11 recession, the housing bubble, and they occurred for different reasons. Even the tumultuous time that we're in now, or the tightening that we're feeling now, it's even a different reason. This is a disposable income recession, not a lending recession that was in 2008 through 10. But to your point, we have like, I don't look forward to a recession, but I'm not afraid of one either. I know exactly what's going to happen. And so we're going to pick up
And
customers when other companies are struggling. And then when the money comes back, now we have a bigger customer base than we started the whole problem with.
tough times create opportunity if you're willing to find the solution, right? Because some people won't be. Some people will put their head in the sand. We saw that in 2020. It was adapt or die. Look, this very
Yeah,
YouTube channel is an adaptation, right? Because I used to travel and host live events and then I couldn't. And so I turned on the camera and I'll never have to travel again. This is the greatest adaptation ever for me, all thanks
right.
to not being able to travel. So, as business owners, the question that I'm asked constantly by candidates, is now the right time to be thinking about starting a business? And I said, is the dream in your heart? Because if it is, it's time to go. The dream isn't going to wait. It'll just die stillborn if you don't act on it. And the reality is, if you're planning to become a business owner, you can't control the economy. So if you're going to do this for 10 years, the economy's gotta be able to do what it's got to do. And you have to
Yeah,
be able to pivot and adapt. But here's the thing. This guy is telling you, when you own a franchise, you're not trying to solve the problem by yourself. You're in this situation, you're partnered with a franchisor. Been there, done that, have proof to show, we know how to help you through it. That's why you invest in a franchise. That's one of the reasons, right? You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So when did you turn your business from family business to knowing we have something that we can franchise? When did that happen, Kelsey?
well, I'm kind of the dreamer. I'm the oldest brother. I'm the guy all with his head in the clouds. And I was daydreaming about franchising 10 years before we did it. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, but my parents were always the ones at the register. And I knew that there was opportunity and things that we gained because of that, but I also knew there was a cost. Like when we were on vacation, I knew how much the vacation was, but I also knew how much we weren't making because my parents were vocal about money. Money was a thing in our house that was open conversation. And so I knew that I didn't want to grow up at the register. I knew that we needed to build an empire or I was going to be there forever because I fully intended to be in business for myself. And as I said in the beginning, really it came down to, do you build company stores through to scale that way? Or do you let other people learn from your experiences and grow that way? And, I work shoulder to shoulder with my brothers. I have for 17 years, literally worked shoulder to shoulder for 17 years. And so early on, we learned that we enjoyed it. It was a strength, not a weakness.
But
We're
guess
one of
who's
those.
the CEO? Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh
Guess who
man.
is the CEO?
So okay, so side note. So back in the day, right, we're all in our like mid to late 20s. We're trying to figure out the pecking order. And if I wanted to push my brother Chris's buttons, that's the beauty of working with your families. You know exactly what button to push. So if I was tired of listening to him and I just wanted to set him off that no matter what we were talking about, I would just tell them, I'll remember that when I sign your paychecks.
That's so great. I love how boys always have to find the pecking order, no matter whether I'm a mom of two boys, whether they're, 7 or 8 years old or 30 or 40 or 50 years old. It's always a pecking
Oh,
order. And the
always.
people who
The
are below
iron,
are always getting harassed.
yep. The irony is once he started taking over the finances, he started signing my checks and he made sure he knew it. So
Oops.
yeah, we moved to direct deposit, so I didn't have to listen to that anymore.
Take him off signing your check.
Yes, get that signature off there every week. Here you go, buddy.
We were talking about when you turned your business in, when you decided, so you decided 10 years earlier, but when did it officially happen?
So we franchised the business August 2014. It took us 5.5 months to get the first franchise owner, right? Every brand that starts franchising, you need those guinea pigs. You need those early adopters. And then it just began to roll. We really began to launch a new franchise on average about one a month for the next 6 years. And it's been a great run, but we had to learn what it meant to be a franchise. That wasn't like, they don't teach you that in the books.
Well, it's the same thing when people sign up to be a franchisee. Yes, you're going to get training, but there's still, you know, Kim Daly loves to say experience is really the only teacher. Like, I can tell you, but until you go do it, it's like a whole nother level of learning, right? So, but
Right.
especially turning your business from a family business into a franchise. And now, it's one thing to be doing the work. Now it's another thing to be training other people on how to do the work, right? Who don't have that same dream or all that experience, and you're trying to like make up for all of that in training manuals. So there's a lot
Yeah.
to turning your business into a franchise. It's no small feat. And then to make it a successful one that goes on to, open how many franchisees do you have today?
Well, we have 65 franchise owners. We have 106 territories. So depending on how you count it.
Amazing. And you guys know, if you're schooled by Kim Daly, that 100 units is about the stabilizing point for a franchise. So he's hit his stabilizing point. He's in his stride, right? Prior to that, I always tell my people, look, a startup franchise with less than 100 territories is nothing more than a startup business, right? So
Yeah,
they're still
it is
trying to
true.
figure it out. Yeah. And there's a lot to learn as a franchisor. So it's just honest to say, "Look, we're going to," and even as you continue to grow, you're going to continue to make mistakes, right? I mean, franchisors aren't perfect.
One of the best parts about our journey is it's been interesting that our emotional journey in building the franchise, training people, trusting them, coaching them, you know, as a franchisor to franchisee, it is the exact same emotional journey that our franchisees go through because they first become the center of the wheel, the all and the everything. And then as they grow, if they want to get past that cash register position, they have to go through that same emotional journey. So it's been really interesting because we've grown up with franchisees literally together on the same emotional journey. We can talk about it. We kind of lean on each other sometimes, and the ones that are successful are having great days. I can lean on them, and I get to provide a lot of emotional support in that process as well. But being here early, granted before the 100 mark, and being a founder that was from the industry, and like it was my business, I didn't get hired to this position. That trust element and letting other people doing and trusting them to wear your logo and treat it right, like a franchise owner goes through the exact same struggles. It's been a great journey to walk with them for it.
That is such a great point. Every franchise owner, well, not every, if you've managed people in a corporate job or in other businesses you've owned, you have probably more leverage when you come in here and understanding of how to hire people and let go of the reins. But a lot of people I work with are excited for the leverage of a team of people, but then also like, oh my God, how am I going to find those people? And how am I going to trust them to go treat my customers right and do it the way I would do it? So here's a franchisor that's saying, look, I totally get it because I'm there with you. I've been there with you and grown through that. I want to go back to something you said. I didn't want to interrupt you. I think it's a beautiful thing. Like there is some statistic out there that says that children of entrepreneurs have a much higher likelihood of going on to become entrepreneurs themselves. I mean, that's certainly my case. It's your case. But like what I love about this story with you and your mother is she had a dream and she changed her entire family from that dream. And as you grew up in her dream, you developed your own dream. And your dream was bigger than her dream, but that's amazing. Like, that's like a blessing to your mom, right? That you had to
Yeah.
talk her into letting you take it from where she got it to like the next level. I mean, that's just like generational growth. And so imagine if you take this business and you have children, you and your brothers, and your sons or daughters take the business and they can take it to the next level. I mean, when we talk about like, why do you want to own a business, Kelsey? Like, we in this world, we're not selling franchises. We're finding people and we're identifying their motivations and we're trying to make connections. I'm trying to connect the franchisee to people like you, and that connection is that legacy. If that's the connection, this is a beautiful franchise for someone to be a part of, because the entire company has been built on that legacy. So
On
if you're
family
out there and
legacy.
you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, my motivation is to build something that I can leave for my kids, here's a franchisor who's the beneficiary of what his mother built, who's helping other people to then go build their own legacy for their families, and maybe one day building something that he's able to pass on to his kids. And that's nothing to like just like smirk at. That's pretty strong motivation for a lot of people. People will say, Kim, I'm not really doing it for money. Yes, some amount of money is important. It's an investment. I need money. We all need money to live. But like the real goal of this is, a legacy, or waking up and enjoying what I do every day, or building to where I have that freedom and control and stability, right?
Yeah.
These are the drivers. And it sounds like as a business owner and now as a franchisor, you've gone through those same growth curves, because you were telling me before we hit record that you used to do everything, right? You were, what's that expression? The
Center of the wheel.
dishwasher, the chief bottle
Oh yeah.
washer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've had to learn how to let go of the reins as you've staffed up your corporate environment. Share some of that.
Well, so there definitely has been a journey in that. We've had to do that. But I want to kind of circle back to what you're talking about the legacy, and how I'm going to sidestep the opportunity for self-promotion here, because we look at it like we're teaching a mindset and a skill set. Because the widget, Bloomin Blinds, is a widget, right? It's a path to getting out of that employee mindset. It's a path to teaching your kids how to think beyond themselves and dream about what could be and chase it. There's a song out right now that says, you got to chase your dreams because they won't chase you back. And that lyric has been with me ever since I heard that. I thought it was the coolest thing. So we absolutely focus on doing it within our environment because that's what we know. But a franchise owner with us, our coaching and our mentality is learn how to do it. Running a business, making money, getting beyond your expectations, that's a mindset and a skill set. The widget itself, whether you buy a Bloomin' Blinds or a sandwich shop, it's still going to be contained by your mindset. And so we
I love
really
it.
like to focus on that. We're just a widget, to be honest.
Yep. So on that note, what kind of owner, like who's your ideal candidate? Who are you looking for?
Yeah, it's taken us a while to figure that out. And that's really part of the learning curve of being a franchisor, is having enough repetition and enough people come through the system to help identify the strengths and weaknesses. By the best summary for it is, I love someone who's mildly entrepreneurial. It takes an entrepreneurial spirit to get there, but they can't be overly ambitious. And so we kind of relate this back to systems and processes. I would be a terrible franchise owner or franchisee, because you're going to show me a system and process, and I'm going to naturally assume that I can make it better. That's just in my mind. I'm going to bend it, break it. I'm going to try and take a square and turn it into a circle. That's my nature.
That's so funny.
So I would look at systems and processes as a personal limiter. But there are tons of really great franchise candidates who look at systems and processes as a point of strength, where they know they can lean on. Yeah, they can leverage. I was just going to use that word. You can leverage all of this experience all the time, heartbreak, money, success, and victories, and then you still get to put your personal spin on it. Like, you can still make it yours, but you're willing to stand on top of the shoulders of the people who built it before you, and now you can see higher and farther. And so mentality on that is a major piece for us. And I think it should be for anyone looking at a franchise, period. Um,
Hmm.
Beyond that, we've got such a variety that are really successful. I mean, it doesn't take a salesperson, but it does take a people person in this business. We are working with people in their homes, making them beautiful, changing the feeling. You talked about how, like everyone needs window coverings. If you calculated how much square footage of your walls are covered by windows, I mean, that's a massive percentage of your, visible space inside your house.
Yep.
So you need to help people
So
daydream. You need a
sheep are
presenter,
not going to cut
right?
it.
Right. But I would put up
Maybe if
sheets
you're in college.
if I couldn't buy groceries. Yeah, exactly. Um,
Exactly.
I need someone who wants a mentor. That's another major piece is we have a heart of a teacher. I want to take all this information. If you just want to buy the logo and be left alone, we're not a good fit. You're going to break my heart because I have so much to give that I want to give. That's why we built this. And I need someone who enjoys a mentor, who values it and is coachable. And if I fail you and you stop listening, fine, I earned that. But until I fail you, please let me help you do this better, faster, easier, and want it. And if you can, we're going to be a great fit. Beyond that, like I don't need someone who's super handy. What we do is like playing with giant Legos. It's really not that complicated. Um, the most objections are around the physical aspects of repair or install. And the truth is, this
Yep.
business is way more mental than it is physical. There's a
Like
lot.
every business, almost every business, Kelsey.
Sure.
So in your business, tell the listeners a little bit about the setup. Like what's the average kind of investment, and are you operating from a home-based office, or are you looking for somebody to have an office outside of their home?
Okay. So we have two major models. So I'll start with how we began, which is the owner operator model. Often the generic term is chuck in a truck. It kind of
Yep.
sounds derogatory, but the explanation is that you're the business, right? So it's typically a home based business. We don't need a storefront. Even if you scale, we still don't do storefronts or expensive real estate. It's not necessary in today's world. Um, and so the owner operator has a van. It's fully stocked with everything you need. Um, we've automated the marketing process, so the leads come into our national call center. We book the appointments. They show up on your schedule. You go love on the customer, politely extract as much as humanly possible, and then honor your commitments. And then when you're done, you go to the next appointment and you rinse and repeat. And if you want to scale out of that, that's totally doable. We'll help you with the recipe. But if you just want to make a really nice income and control your day, then that's certainly possible too. On a more scalable side, we have somebody who's going to have technicians out on the road. And they are either the general manager of the business, or they may even be one step removed. Maybe they hire a general manager who manages the technicians. Even then, you're still not in a retail space. You don't have a showroom. You may have a commercial warehouse or a place where the business exists, because you probably don't want all those people in your house at 7 in the morning. Just guessing. Maybe. I don't know.
So
Uh,
you're not carrying inventory, you're ordering direct from your
right.
distributors.
Yep. And the entire industry
Awesome.
works that way. So there's no competitive advantage or disadvantage. It's all just in time. No inventory, no money sitting on the shelves collecting dust.
Yeah.
Um,
No accounts receivable. I mean, if someone
mm-mm.
places an order, they're giving you a deposit and then you fulfill and then you get paid the rest.
Yeah. And the best part is in this industry, we're typically a net 15 or a net 30 for the factory from the point it's shipped to us. Well, it's 2 day ground. So we're getting it and installing it and being paid in full before we pay for the product. So we're playing with house
Wow.
money the whole time.
It makes cash flow a lot easier. And so I guess well, to finish that conversation, I guess going in, entry point will vary depending on whether you're the owner operator model or coming in as a more executive operator, which probably going to need a little more cash to do because you're going to be, putting people in place and scaling faster.
Yep. So on an owner operator, you're looking somewhere in the ballpark of $100,000 between territory, setup, expenses, working capital. Like that's kind of your baseline point. Um,
Yep.
Whether you have it in your back pocket or you borrow it from somebody, it's going to take about that much. You start scaling up and you start getting into 3 or 4 territories and another employee on staff right away because you expect to get busy. You could be in the $250,000 to $300,000 range if you have a nice big bucket of money for a financial runway, and we do require that for your own protection. So that
Yep.
you're not spending all that money. I just want to make sure you have access to it.
Sure. Yeah, but you're going to need that if you want to scale that 7 figure plus business, right? You need that infrastructure because that's the leverage that allows you more vans on the road, more people out in people's homes means more revenue coming in. So it takes
Yeah.
money to make money. Yeah,
Yep.
right. I
Fortunately,
love this story. I love the blind industry. For 20 years, I've been a franchise consultant. The window covering industry has been very good to Kim Daly and a lot of my franchisees over the years. So I can 100% validate this story all day long. Are there any territories in the country that you're still like wide open that you're like, oh man, we really want to get an owner here?
so because we're new and we've only got 62 owners, 65 owners across the US, there are just like almost every major suburban metro, which is really our land of milk and honey, right? Like I can make money in rural environments, I can make money in urban environments, but the best environment is the single family suburban soccer mom driving a Tahoe. Like that's my milk and honey.
That's your
Um,
mecca.
that's my mecca, right? So major metros, the only one that we have sold out is Denver. That all of Denver metro is covered. But I mean, we're located in Dallas, so even Dallas has really good territories left. Um, like major markets that I would just scream for somebody: Atlanta, Chicago, Raleigh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Sacramento, Portland. I mean, again, you think major metro markets, I have space.
That's amazing. That's a consultant's dream
I know
right
it's like,
there.
sorry.
Empty territory. It's open.
Yeah, yeah,
Kelsey, you've been
territory
an
checks are easy.
amazing guest, and I love this story. I think people clearly understand what differentiates Bloomin' Blinds, and also that differentiator is perhaps what saves you in an uncertain economy. True?
Yeah, there's no perhaps about it. It's been time tested twice. We know exactly what's going to happen. So, yes,
So
it's
good.
definitely true.
So if you're a candidate out there and you're a little bit worried about if there's a recession coming or if we're in one, but you're still desiring to own your financial future, this Bloomin' Blinds franchise might be something that we could talk about. If this conversation has inspired you and you would like to begin learning about this company or any other company that the Daily Coach works with, please follow the email on the screen right now or email me directly at inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv. Kelsey, thank you for being my very special guest today and sharing your story.
I really enjoyed myself. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you so much. Until next time, my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your daily coach.